Hey y'all, it's Jess.
And Maya.
And welcome back to Roots and Refuge Farm. We're doing a new kind of video today. We've talked about doing this. Actually, I found some footage where we shot a video like this years ago. I need to share that with y'all because things were a lot different then.
Yeah, we used to do this a lot before we had stuff. We'd walk around the farm and plan things. And now those things are where we planned. So now we need to walk around and show you all the plans that have come forth.
Basically, we shoot our daily vlogs. We show a lot in the garden and just kind of what we're doing daily. But we usually don't take you guys around our whole place and show you everything at once. One thing that we love to do is just walk around together, checking on what we have on our farm, also making plans for what we're gonna do. And we just want to start taking you guys around on these regular kind of homestead tours, showing you what's going on, giving you updates, and sharing kind of what we're dreaming about for the future. So we're just gonna start. This particular video is going to be a lot of kind of like what we're planning on. One thing that I found really interesting about that old video was how many things we were planning on doing that we actually changed plans on. Like I was listening to like our big dreams for that, and a lot of those things did come to pass and we ended up fulfilling those, but a lot of those we just completely changed plans. There were factors that happened that we could not have foreseen. Now we're big into like dreaming big, and I think part of being able to do that is giving yourself permission to let go of stuff when it doesn't work out, you know?
When it changes.
Or when it changes, yeah. Here is the current project in progress.
We've trenched and buried all the water lines to the garden. This one line runs all the way back to the pigs. So what that means for me, I don't have to drag 500 foot of hose around the farm now. And Jessica doesn't have to drag it from where we watered the ducks that morning all the way to the garden to water the garden. This is a huge dream come true of having water security for the farm that is cost effective, and it's awesome. Obviously this is the well house. It's not finished, but it's pretty close. This is where the pump and the tank will go.
Now when we bought our house, it was vandalized and the well had been completely stripped. We have a deep well that's dug, but it had no pump, no fittings, none of that. And so we actually are on city water, and our house is on city water, and up until this point we've been watering our farm and our garden on city water. So this is one step into the direction of sustainability, that now we can water our farm and our garden off the well water.
Okay, so it goes underground and then it leads through all of our yards?
Behind me is the original greenhouse, and obviously it's not in use right now. It is really hot here, and so greenhouses during the summer, you just can't do anything with them as far as growing because it's too hot. So what we use this for during the summer months is hay storage. So that's stacked up with square bales of hay right now. Hey, let's go next door and see the alpacas. Hey ladies.
Kisses.
You got kisses?
Yeah.
Say hey girls.
Okay.
Okay, Ezra, walk up to her.
Hey girly. Sweet girl. Sweet girl. Alpacas feel like carpet. And we have 7 female alpacas, and right now they're up here by this house. That's gonna change soon. We're currently still working on some stuff to move the boys out into their permanent location, and since they're in the backyard, we have the girls up here so that they're not sharing one fence. Because
they said basically if they share one fence, the boys will get over the fence and do what they gotta do.
Yeah, and Bill literally stands at the fence and looks over at the girls.
All the time.
All day, every day. So we've got them up here. They're doing well. Alpaca ownership is as awesome as I hoped it would be. We've got the 7 girls, 6 of which are breedable, and we're still nailing down exactly when we're gonna start breeding.
We're gonna go by, there's a local alpaca farm. I actually took Jessica by there because it's one of the first farms that she drove by and googly-eyed about alpacas. And it's in Valonia, it's in the town closest to us. We actually drove by there the other day. We're gonna stop and introduce ourselves and trying to just get some information and build a relationship with people who have similar animals.
Yeah, it's really valuable.
They've got a herd about the size of ours, right? Because I mean, I saw about 10 to 12
out in their field.
Out in their field. It's
really valuable to make relationships with people who have experience doing what you're trying to do in your area, because you can learn a lot online, but regional differences can make a pretty big difference. The girls are warming up to us. we're really enjoying them. We're getting to know them and learning about what's normal with them. It's been close to 2 weeks since they've been home, and I don't know, I'm just really excited about having alpacas. Is that right, Peek? Hey, sweet girl. Hey, you pretty girl. Look at those big eyes. They're so sweet. Here we are standing in front of our quail cage. This is a temporary solution. I actually, like, before the alpacas were over here, like, we just came over here to take care of these guys, but the reason you never saw them on the vlog is we just didn't spend very much time over here. But right now, they're in this cage. We just have a window setting on top, so basically that they can get out of the rain.
Oh, they also got the overhang.
And there's an overhang up here that kind of blocks off about half the cage. So we actually have 16 quail.
So when we got started on quail, we obviously had a lot more than this. We got our eggs from Alpacas Farms, and I believe you can check them out on Instagram. We ended up with a ton of quail. We gave a bunch away, and we've settled on 16. We have 14 hens, 2 of the roosters or males, whatever they're called. I'm actually not 100% sure on that. And one of the reasons why is this quail, you can reproduce them pretty quickly. We're getting about this many eggs, sometimes more in a day. We still have an incubator, so if we really wanted to grow our population, it wouldn't be that hard. Part of the reason why we've downsized and stayed this way is because of the temporary setup. Once I have more permanent quail cages set up, you know, we might expand because it'll be more efficient. Right now, like, I'm still using chick feeders and they're wasting a bunch of food. Quail food is actually way more expensive than chicken food, and so keeping the population small has kept our costs down until we get something that keeps the feed in and an easy watering system. And then we might ramp up and build up to a larger population.
Our eggs are really pretty though, and we get about this many every day. And up until this point, I've just been using these like you would chicken eggs, but I'd really like to get into pickling them. That's something I've been talking about doing this last week. And as soon as I have a kitchen day, I'll probably do some pickled quail eggs. This is my favorite right here. Isn't she pretty? With her white chest. Quail are one of those things that we were given the opportunity to get into. I was able to barter for some hatching eggs from a friend of mine online, and she does really cool like breeding programs for egg color, and that's how we ended up with like these really neat colorful egg laying quail. But we kind of got in really deep, really big, and figured out like we really don't want to have a massive quail operation. So like Jeremiah said, we pared it down to a comfortable amount, and we enjoy the quail a lot more now that we keep small numbers. They're funny birds, but they're not sweet. Like in my experience, like they're really flighty, they're really wild, and keeping them is basically just like a food production thing. Like I don't get a ton of enjoyment from them. That's it for the property next door. So we're going back over here to our house, and right here through the gate is the goat yard. Hey girls, here's Gabe. We've pared our goat herd down, and we currently have 12 females. 2 of those are claimed and are being sold. They just the people haven't been able to come get them yet. Now there were some speculations when we were talking about our new animals, the alpacas, before we had announced what they were, that people thought that we were cutting our goat herd down because we were going to be getting a dairy cow.
Ha 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 ha, fooled ya.
However, the reason why we cut our dairy goat herd down to 10 is because honestly, like 4 or 5 does in milk is plenty
way more than we need
for what we need in our house. Also, we cut them down because we decided to go in a different direction. Now, previously we had entirely Nubians. We got a couple of La Manchas and really loved their milk. They're the weird looking earless goats. And we actually decided that we're going to keep our favorite Nubians and our best producing Nubians. However, we got rid of all the other ones that we were not like attached to, and we are going in the direction of La Manchas. So we actually will probably grow our herd a little bit. We won't let it get huge, but I would like to get maybe like 3 or 4 really good milking La Mancha does over the course of the next couple years. There's no rush on that. As you can see here, there's a trench, and this is where the water lines are going back to the back. You can kind of see there. So this will all be kind of closed up. The grass is just kind of starting to come back in here. Every day the girls go out in this yard and they graze that yard down. And once the boys are out, the boy alpacas are out of the back here, the girls will have access to that yard again. And we're actually going to try to run our goats with the alpacas. We're gonna see how they do together. I've read kind of some conflicting things about whether they can be on pasture together, just based on whether they'll get along. But right now we've got them on each side of this fence, getting used to each other, and we're just gonna kind of see if that's something that is an option. So over there is what we call the human yard. That's where basically our dogs are, Con and Bear. Con went to the vet last week because he had an allergic reaction to something and he got covered in hives. So that was fun.
No, it wasn't.
He looked awful.
I thought he was dying. I was freaking out.
But he's better now. He's just got a couple of bald spots and he's recovering on some medication.
Me and Jessica have also never owned a Great Dane before. Any breed that was the same size was a fluffy breed, and so they hid what their actual body looked like. And so we were both a little concerned that he was not putting on weight. We were like, man, maybe he has like some kind of worm or something. I took his butt to the vet. He's 102 pounds, and they're like, oh no, he's great, he's perfect. I'm like, so this is normal? They said yes. Like,
his birthday is actually tomorrow. He's 1 year old tomorrow, yeah.
And so he's gonna get bigger. He still has another year of growing, but it's like I said, I'm having to learn what normal looks like for a Great Dane. You know, the hips showing and a little bit of rib cage showing, I guess, is just part of it.
Yep.
Kind of freaks me out a little bit.
He's a good dog. He's definitely a giant puppy.
I think he's actually getting less stupid. He's getting a little more chill. He's relaxing more.
We should add, he's so awesome to like take to Home Depot or take to the store.
Not if you're in a hurry.
Well, yeah, because he gets stopped so much.
Literally, I'm on aisle 10. I'm on aisle 11. Oh, what a big boy you are. That's a 15-minute conversation. Next aisle. Oh, what a big boy you are. Okay, so if you're in a hurry and you like, Jessica's a browser shopper. I'm a get in, get out kind of shopper. Taking him, you might as well just count on a 2-hour Home Depot trip because everyone's gonna stop you when that size dog walks in.
But he does awesome going out in public places. He's great on the leash.
His strongest suit from obedience training was leash training.
Yeah.
I literally didn't have to teach him anything. He doesn't pull you, which is awesome. Like, he doesn't drag you around. He stays by your hip. I mean, it's actually easy to take him. It's all the people who want to stop and talk to him.
He's not a farm dog though, and we knew that when we got him, that it was going to require a lot of diligence on our part. And of course, we keep him out of any yard where he could hurt anything, because he wouldn't do it on purpose, but he could definitely do it accidentally trying to play with something. He has killed several chickens in his life because they come into the yard with him. And it's one pounce and they're gone, and he doesn't understand why they won't run away and play with him anymore. So, so when we talk about the dumb things he's done, it's typically stuff like that. As far as like obedience and just being a good pet, he's a good dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was kind of a reckless grief decision. I've only regretted it sometimes. Bear's been with us for longer than Con. He's still young. And he can go all over the farm. He can be with any of the animals, and he doesn't have any issues. But then again, he's got shepherd in him, and so it's kind of more in his blood to do a job. Charity here and Margot are the two that are being sold. So the rest of the girl goats here will be staying with us. These are the ones that we have like the most emotional attachment to, that we've had the longest, or that are just really good goats. Really, it's mostly emotional attachment at this point. This is Bill. He stands at the fence and looks over at the ladies all day, every day. Here's the duck house. Are there eggs in there? Yeah. We got a few eggs. We actually talked about getting rid of our ducks. We were trying to decide if we wanted to keep them. We have 6, 5 females and 1 male, but Maya decided he wanted to keep them.
I think the thing is like, especially we had a conversation about 2 animals, the quail and the duck. And so what we settled on was, we really don't have that many. And so it's not like it's that much of a strain, but I do want to start utilizing what they're giving us better, if that makes sense. I'm sure we're not the only homestead who is learning this process. So for the ducks, I want to do some updates on what we're keeping, because this was originally a chicken house. I saw somebody tagged us in a Friends of Roots and Refuge post, and I saw something that someone had built for their ducks, and basically I'm going to redesign a new swimming area. It's obviously not going to be like a pond because there's not enough space, but I'll do a video about that. A couple of things for sure I'm going to change. The roof. When we first built this, we were a lot more restricted on materials. I didn't have as much tin. Normally you'd want to do your roof running the opposite direction with your ridges going with your slope so the water runs off. But this was easier to cover this much space without having to cut up a bunch of tin, and then we wouldn't have had enough. So this is just what we did at the time. I'm going to take all this off, and I'm going to run tin the right way, slope the right way, and actually I'm going to run a gutter along the backside and feed it into where they're swimming, so when it rains it will cycle in fresh water that we're not having to pay for or pump ourselves. Easier for us to take care of them. The coop itself is great. It's got a really thick straw bed. It's good for them to be able to make their nests in. They like going inside there and laying.
Now, the reason why we have our 6 ducks contained in this pen and why we have not been letting them free range, we used to let them free range, was because of our dog. So right now we've got them contained. We are actually planning on putting an electric wire around the fence where the yard with the dogs are to keep the dogs in, and then repairing it to keep anything else out. And at that point we might start letting the ducks have access to this backyard more. Back here is what we call our junkyard. That is just the random piles of materials, which
it's looking really junky.
It's looking extraordinary junky right now, but Maya's gonna be kind of reorganizing that soon. That's on our to-do list. Of course, the boy alpacas are out back here, and they have their little shelter over here, but this is also temporary. They will be out there soon in a barn that's currently being worked on. Here we've also got our mangalitas back in this little corner. Right now the girls are in with the boy, Gerard and Fanny and Clementine. We're currently using this electric netting to keep them in here. The last thing we have to do is run one stretch of fence from the corner of that fence right over there all the way across, so they'll have this big area back here, and then we'll use that electric netting to keep Gerard away from the females when they start to farrow. It's kind of crazy because like right now everything is almost where it's going to be. Like, we're almost using every bit of property that we have, but just in a matter of probably the next month, I would say at the longest, everything is going to be where it's going to be, and we'll be using the entirety of the 7.5 acres that we have access to, then plus the 90-acre lease where our horses are. Hey Manny. Hey little stinker. What's up? No snuggles for me? Hey Boomer. Hey sweet boy, do you wonder what that camera is? Is that a weird thing? Now I had plans back here to turn this area into a garden, and we ran the pigs back here to get it ready. Obviously it's grown over now. What it came down to was not being able to do that and get ready for the alpacas. And when given the choice between more garden space and alpacas, I chose alpacas because it was just such a cool opportunity to be able to get them. I figured we can do the garden later, so basically what we're talking about doing is getting some wood chips. We think we have nailed down a source for a lot of wood chips, at which point we can actually prepare this space as a Back to Eden garden, which we had originally wanted to do. And this is where we would do like a Three Sisters garden, as well as just growing corn and melons and maybe some dried beans, just the things that take a little more space. Now we're standing in front of our chicken coop, but we have very few chickens right now.
You would think, at least this is my thought process, if you take out the woods and you don't give them cover to sneak up to the coop, I thought, well, that will reduce the predator.
I think it will in the long run.
At first, though, it was not the case. Our predator activity has gone way up.
I think it's been less the last week, but like the first 2 weeks after clearing the woods, the predators did not retreat to the 1,000 acres of woods that are behind our house. They instead preyed on our chicken coop. If our chickens had gone up at night the way that they should have, they would have lived. We came out and closed the coop before dark every night, but we would find in the morning where chickens had roosted out in the woods, or they would go into the garden and try to roost, and those chickens would be killed. And so we're down to having just a handful of chickens, and we're getting more.
So we're actually going to be buying some chickens from VW Family Farms. It's actually a cool thing. I'll just share a little bit about it. Emily and Lane do 4-H. Well, Lane and Emily run that entire business.
That's like their chicken business.
Run it. They buy the feed, they sell the eggs, they sell the chickens, they raise them, brood them, all of it. And they get to keep all the profits, and that's how Lane has saved up for a car. It's a pretty cool thing, and honestly, it's kind of motivated my kids. My Jackson and Asher are like, wait, they're doing what to get what? Anyways, I'm buying some from Lane at VW Family Farms. I think we're going to get 15.
15 is what we talked about.
And that'll help bolster our number some, but I would like to get a few more, maybe some different
types,
colors, something like that, because what we're getting from them are production layers. They'll lay very consistently, nice brown eggs. Jessica really likes beautiful hens with hats and feathers and beards and colors and colorful eggs. So I'm gonna try and find some chickens with those attributes that we can add to the flock also.
We're planning on expanding our chicken yard so they have a little bit more room to free range. Basically, the, what is it called? The field lines for our septic tank run through right here. And during certain times, the ground just gets a little bit soft, and we don't want any ruminants grazing in that area. Don't know if it would be a problem, but I can kind of see that as being something that wouldn't be great. And so what we're going to be doing is fencing in over that area so that the chickens can free range through that, but that the goats and the alpacas won't be on it. So that expands our chicken yard. We have this space in our coop and with the fence to run about 40 chickens comfortably. However, we probably won't get that many. I would be comfortable at like 25 or 30 tops.
I think we're gonna go for 30.
You're really the one who's like going extra.
Well, when you put that much work into a coop that can hold, you know, like, what it can, and it's done right, and it's done well, well then you might as well just make it, you know, 30 fill it up.
30 is a lot of chickens.
Yeah, but I mean, I also like being able to give eggs away and stuff. Right now, we're scrounging for our own eggs.
I bought eggs at the store the other day.
And so, I would rather make sure that we're safe in that regard.
Okay, so there's the kids' garden on the side of the house. And here, of course, is my garden. Of course, we won't go all the way through the garden right now. There's a mockingbird nest up in this tree right here, and so she's being a little concerned right now. But you guys see the garden in a lot of vlogs and garden tours and stuff. If you don't know, this garden space it's 10,000 square foot fenced. This year we did not plant anything in the ground around the greenhouse. Last year we did. And this fall, again, I'll be establishing that area as like a cottage garden with perennials and medicinal herbs, and just really kind of just as a beautiful space. I've got 2,200 square feet of plantable space in my garden beds, several containers, and we are able to grow a lot of our food in this space. Again, I would like to expand in the back, making a larger area for growing things that are more space intensive, and so next year we'll be able to grow a good deal more of our food.
That bird is so loud.
I know.
Stressed out of that.
Bless her heart. She's just concerned about Gary, and I would be too. Look at him.
Well, this morning she was attacking him. Yeah. She was dive bombing on him.
Over here in the corner of the garden are our beehives, which we now have 3 of. This one is just getting it established. We'll add a new box to that soon. The reason why we have deeps added, so we have the bottoms and then we added a deep box on top, is that we're actually focusing more this year on growing the population of our bees, and we are going to split all of these hives next year and increase to having 6 hives. That's how many we would like to have. We'd like to have no more than 10, but we'd like to get to 6 next year, and then we'll start focusing on honey production.
We'll still have some honey to harvest, we're just not focusing on that.
Right.
There will still be honey to have. It just won't be as much as if we focused on honey. I'm not really knowledgeable yet. I'm just, you know.
Yeah, we're learning.
We're learning.
We have really great bee mentors.
Yes.
As you can see Jeff right there, our boy goats are out in this wooded area right now, just kind of eating on that and staying out there. The alpacas will be out there soon once they have their barn. The boys have a small shelter out there that works for them, but it's not big enough for the alpacas. The window greenhouse is not really being used for anything right now other than just some basic storage. It's 9 o'clock in the morning right now. It's almost 100 degrees in there. So we need to talk about Journey Pig.
Right.
You may have noticed at this point that she is absent. That is because last night she went to her new home with Ben Turn. Of course, he is wanting to learn a little bit about homesteading, and he wanted to go ahead and take her.
It's his first animal, real animal.
It's his first animal, which should be a good first animal for him. Journey Pig was breaking our fences. Now, she can be contained in hog panels. That is the only thing that she can be contained in.
We never trained her to hot wire, so the first time we tried that, she busted through it and freaked out and was not happy about it. And I didn't want her to get hurt by the hot wire because she didn't understand how it worked.
Right, and our main concern was keeping her away from Gerard because he is a full-size pig. And the other issue that we were having is that, like, we would put her in the backyard and she would break the fence. Our dogs got out once and ran away because Journey Pig broke the fence, and they got out because of that. And so actually we gave Ben Turn a bunch of hog panels to be able to set up a pen for her, and he decided he wanted to take her. It was sad to say goodbye to her. She's been with us for about 4 years, and it was fine. Having her here was fine until Gerard was on our property, and we definitely want to be able to breed Mangalitsa's. That's something that has been on our list, but trying to keep those two separate was proving to be incredibly difficult. And there just wasn't a space that we could really designate to making Journey a big permanent pen just to keep her contained. And so I think that she will be good in a place where there's not a big boar on the property that she wants to get to. Now, the last thing that we have on our homestead is we have 3 horses. Our horses are rescue horses. We actually worked with a rescue down in Louisiana and rescued them out of kill pens where horses are bought up really cheap at auctions, or if there's like a local family that's struggling to feed their horse or keep it, they put it on Craigslist. These kill pen people will go and purchase them for really cheap, and then they ship them to Mexico for meat. And so we worked with the rescue. All of our horses came out of a kill pen situation where they would have been shipped for meat, and we have since rehabbed them here. We used to work with them more and ride them more, but there was kind of a situation. We had a leased area. We had to move them onto a smaller pasture, and then we moved them. We got this lease right next door to us, 90 acres, fantastic opportunity, just a few months ago, and we've just set up our round pen to start working with them again. I did not wear the right shoes for this at all. This is why I don't have nice things. All right, let's go find these dudes.
All right.
Come on. Come on. They know it's not feeding time, so they're being lazy about coming up. They're like, what do you even want? Because I know it's not to feed me. Also, the farrier came yesterday, and so they're probably a little bit like, I don't know if I want what you're offering. Hey, will you be sweet, please? Come here. Here's Luke, Maverick, and there in the back is Cyrus. I did bring them some food. Cyrus gets fed out here because he's kind of the bottom of the pecking order with the 3, and so we feed him out here so he doesn't get his food stolen. At this exact point of horse ownership, you could not pay me to get on the back of any one of these horses because they haven't been in the round pen in a year. Like, at this point, we've just basically had them and been keeping them healthy and fed, but we're starting to round pen. When do you think you'll round pen them again?
I mean, yesterday I round penned them for a little bit, and I didn't even have any of the tools and I didn't even need anything. I just basically pointed to Cyrus because he didn't want me to put the halter on. So I was like, fine, run. And I just walked him in a circle with nothing. Normally you'd carry a whip and smack the ground. I just pointed it and he remembered. I'm telling you, he turned inside, he faced me.
That's good.
So they remember, they just need a reminder.
So we just need to do some refreshing and working with them. One thing that is like really on our list of things that are important to us is to begin riding our horses again. And I mean, honestly, I can't think of a date I would rather have. I mean, like when we do get to go somewhere, I would so much rather come out here and ride rather than go watch a movie or go to some restaurant in town and eat junky food. Like, this is kind of our luxury item, I guess you could say.
Our first luxury item.
Our first luxury. Don't say anything about alpacas. Jeremiah loves the horses.
Luke goes and eats it.
Honestly, the horses were Jeremiah's alpacas.
You are looking good.
He's fat is what he is. Been out here eating all this grass.
You're just King Henry healthy. Yeah. Feet are looking good. See, just one day for the few minutes in the round pen, and he's way less skittish. It's like it's muscle memory for them.
Hey, big boy, you're looking chunky.
Brown spots.
The brown spots, yeah, I like that.
He's got all the black ones, but he's got a few brown ones.
Oh, Luke is so mad he can't steal Cyrus's food right now.
I know, which is why I put Cyrus on the outside.
I know. Well, that's it. All of our animals and endeavors in one video. We'd love to hear your feedback on how often you guys would like to see these updates where we go around and just check on everything, tell you kind of what the status of those things are, what any future plans are. I don't think... Oh, I guess we should talk about the fact that we don't view this as our forever property. We don't ever talk about that.
No, we don't.
So, you guys see us like work our butts off on this property, and we have. Even now, we make kind of long-term plans, but that is a reflection of, I mean, honestly, our beliefs more than it is a reflection of what we feel like we're investing in ourselves. And a lot of times people say, oh, well, you know, you're going to have this work, it's going to produce something that you'll be able to have for the next 20, 30 years that you'll hand down to your kids. But this is actually not, we don't view this as our forever property.
It's true.
And that might be kind of crazy for some people to hear. We don't talk about that very much. But truly, like, we're really big believers that, one, everything that we do is a legacy. And so if I plant a perennial garden and it's not for me and my kids, somebody's children is going to enjoy it. And if I plant a tree, whether I know that I'll be the person to harvest it or whether someone else will, it's still a tree that's going to bear fruit someday. And so for us, we believe that if you steward the small well, then you're trusted with the big. And we have big dreams. I mean, like, we'd love to own cattle someday. We'd love to rehab horses on a much larger scale, like be able to have barns where we're able to rescue more horses and see them rehabbed and placed in homes with people who are looking for a great horse and don't mind if it comes from a rescue situation.
That's a big dream of mine.
I'd love to have a home dairy on kind of a larger scale, and I would love to have even more gardening space.
Right.
So this is us making the most of where we are. So we have big plans, we have things that we think, oh, we want to do this, but like, I don't know that we'll have more animals than what we currently have here, other than, of course, breeding our pigs, raising up some more of those, possibly getting some more goats.
I know for sure we're going to be doing some meat fowl. I know that for sure.
Yeah, like meat birds, we'll do that.
Especially with the field next door and this property, the way it's
like with tractors.
I plan on renting them with tractors with the alpacas or something like that. So we're working that out here pretty soon. But we've talked about doing that for a long time, and we're just now getting to a place where we can really do it well. I'm not saying that we'll never get like a mini Jersey with the field we have now available to us. What do y'all think? Mini Jersey? Maybe? Accepting mini Jerseys and a donkey.
A donkey?
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like getting a donkey.
You're just going wild.
I am wild, baby. Wild, crazy, in love with you.
So...
And donkeys.
Let's bring that back in. That's what
Rail it back in. Rabbit hole.
Bring it on. I don't know. I guess we don't really talk a lot about that, about the idea that we
are gonna sell this place.
Yeah, eventually we're gonna sell this place. I don't know what that looks like. We don't have like a definite plan of what that looks like, but I don't know. I mean, we always joke about somebody could make us an offer that we can refuse. You know, like, I don't think that's how it'll come down. I don't think it'll come down to that, but we're not, like, when we make plans for this place, we make plans because we are legacy minded and we like to look at everything generationally, but we don't feel like this is where we'll always be.
We're fairly confident this is not where we're going to stay permanently.
Oh yeah, like,
we're very confident in that. And honestly, that's why we've gone through many conversations being like, God, well, why do you want us to build a window greenhouse here? And why do you want us to do this? And honestly, we in a legacy mindset, just because it's not, maybe that's not just our legacy. Maybe this place is being set up for someone, for their legacy.
Yeah.
And God's just using us to do the work, the legwork to get it ready. And we've learned so much from this place. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad that we started here, because if we had just been like, if we had the resources to go buy 100 acres, how much more trouble would we have gotten into?
Goodness. This has been, it's crazy because I tell you guys all the time, when you're in your apartment and you're in your suburban town, turn your waiting room into your classroom. Like, this has been our classroom in such a tremendous way. And like I said, like, we're not, like, we don't have any definitive plans right now or know what we're doing, but we were talking about it the other day, and we get comments all the time about people being like, yeah, well, your children will enjoy sharing that with their children. And actually, that's not our plan.
Someone's children might enjoy sharing that with their children.
Will enjoy sharing this with their children, and we believe that. Like, we believe that what we're doing is for generations, even if it's not the generations of our family tree. We're actually believing for more than this. Like, we actually would love to.
Isn't that crazy though? Like, God took what we thought was our dream come true and turned it into a classroom waiting room.
I know He'll do that everywhere.
For what you feel like is now the dream come true, we may get to, let's say, 100-acre property and be like, we finally hit our dream come true, and then
see, that makes me tired.
Then maybe God's like, actually, I want to move you to a 1,000-acre property in here. I mean,
that thought makes me exhausted. Like,
it makes you exhausted. I built all this stuff. I've got to build it again. I had to get my head around that one.
Whenever we really started talking about, I think, do we want to expand? Do we want to do something more than this in the future? Honestly, like, I think one of the hardest things was just like, what? Like, we're going to have to start over from scratch again?
Yeah, but we've learned so much. It's exciting to me because I've learned so much. Like, I love perfecting things.
Yeah, so this took us 5 years to get to. We're really focusing on just finishing everything that's here well. Like, just getting it all excellent. Like, we said that the word that we really were focusing on this year was finishing, and I know we've started a lot of other things, but actually these other things were things that we had planned for this property. So, like, we're finishing well. I don't see us starting anything else here, but this may be one of those times where I take the clip of this video and put it in a future video where I've shown you something new. But I don't see us starting anything new here. I see us finishing this stuff well, and then we'll see what the future holds. So
let us know if you want us to keep doing these farm tour updates.
Yeah.
For us, it's normal, but it feels kind of boring because we've done it so much.
Yeah, this feels boring for us to show you, to be completely honest. When I'm going around with the camera, I'm like, is this even good?
And I'm like, well, I mean, it's kind of like the garden tours. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you tremendously, and we bless you. Until next time.